So the question is, how do you create a better culture in your newsroom? One that really embraces all the changes that we're facing now and moves us forward in the direction that we need to go as a newsroom in the year 2008. It's a really difficult question. It's one I'm going to try to answer. I think, the fact that I'm answering it here on a video blog, one that's not particularly professionally done, and one that is not really my favorite means of communication, is one example to you of how our culture has changed at the newsroom. Not only do I have to stretch myself to do something that I'm not so comfortable with, but all of our staff members have to do the same thing. There are a few key components that I want to mention today, now that I have 3 or 4 minutes to talk with you. One is the importance of training in the newsroom. Training is the number one thing that needs to be done, in my opinion, if you're going to change the culture. The folks in your newsroom will really appreciate it. Putting together some sort of a training program where you actually put somebody in charge of the program and where you have a requirement, at least that's the way we've done it, a requirement that people get a certain amount of training every year, is something that I think is really important. That shows the folks in the newsroom that you're willing to invest in them, that you're willing to get them the tools they need to do the job in this changing culture that we're in, this changing environment that we're in. The training needs to be targeted. You need to find out from the staff, I believe, what are the skills that are needed and what are the tools that we need to give them. We've done training on things like conflict resolution in our newsroom. It's not always skills training, but I think it's really important that you work with your staff members to get them the training, make sure that they know you're investing in them so that they can learn all these new skills that they're going to need. A second thing that goes, I believe, hand in hand is the idea of business literacy. We're telling people in our newsrooms that we have to change. I believe that any journalist is going to want to know why. Just because we tell them we have to change doesn't mean that they're going to believe us. But I think if you can make the case for what's happening in our industry, where readers are going, the amount of the kinds of things that people are doing online, I think that's where you start to build your case that we really have to do the kinds of things that this training is going to bring to people. The third thing I want to mention is innovation. We really need to be innovators. How we do that, it's a lot easier said than done. You can't just assign somebody to innovate. You have to create this culture where new ideas are welcome, where you'll give people time to actually develop these new ideas. The Hamilton Spectator had a great idea during the Learning Newsroom project that newsroom was going to provide everybody with their idea was to provide everybody with 2 weeks of innovation time. They called it an innovation time bank. People would draw from the time bank up to 2 weeks a year and try to develop something new for their newsroom. We haven't done that here in our small newsroom in Bloomington, Indiana, but we did have one reporter who took a week off to basically work on developing a new structure for our news department. She was particularly interested in that, and so we got her the time off to do it. She helped develop the new newsroom structure that we've put in place to try to move us forward in this new challenging time that we have. Another thing I think that everybody needs to think about, at least everybody in our newsroom needs to think about, is what can we stop doing? We are putting so many more demands on all of our people that if we don't think about things that we can stop doing, the culture is never going to change. People are going to think, well, I have to keep doing A, B, and C, plus now they want me to do D, E, and F. That's not going to win you a lot of friends. It's not going to allow the people in your newsroom to think that there's any kind of change afoot. It's just more. Well, it all feels like more, but it really is different. So we can't just keep doing the same things and adding on. We have to figure out what we can do differently. And I think that's all part of this changing culture. Another key area is communication. We need to be able to communicate better. This has been one of the toughest things in our newsroom. While I think our culture is good, I think our culture is constructive, I guarantee you there have been times in the last, several weeks even, in which I've been called called on the carpet by one of my staff members, but for having some idea that they didn't hear of until a lot later than they should have. As a manager, I still have a tendency to think that, I've got good ideas, and I certainly hope that I do. But the people on the staff have great ideas, and helping them to bring their ideas forward should be the job of a newsroom leader in 2008. It's not to get my ideas done, it's to help them get their ideas done. This issue is something that is constant. It's not something that you can say, we're going to change our culture, we're going to create a new culture, do it in 5 steps, and then move on. It's having a changed culture is something that is hard work. It's constant work. It takes every manager's attention, every leader's attention every day to make sure that we're not leading in all the old ways, that we're helping develop leaders throughout our newsroom so that they feel empowered, they feel like they can bring ideas forward, they feel like they have the skills to do all the things we're asking them to do, and they feel like they're not overburdened with a bunch of new stuff that they have to do in addition to all the old stuff they need to do. I hope this has been helpful. It's not an easy thing, and I hope to be around to answer questions if you need for me to answer questions. Thank you. Need for me to answer questions.